What's up, you guys? Today we are working on cooling stuff. I think I might have shown you guys a few things that were going on, but for you guys out there who have second gen Camaros, namely, let's just say 78 through 81s, because your front grill's a little bit different, you might have dealt with some of the heating and cooling issues that I've had to deal with on these cars. Now, because this thing being a big block in the 555, and I'm going to try to street drive it and all that, well, some of the problems that I run into is keeping this thing cool. And I've fought it many times, and I'm going to try to do some improvements on doing this today. So what I've already done, and you guys, I'm sure you guys have seen it, you already know the entire front brace is out of this car. It's gone. So I'm going to show you underneath the car and kind of what's going on right now. And I'll call it an air funnel going from the grill. And again, I ended up chopping this bottom grill out, so now I actually have more air going to it to help cool things off. That's 101. I'm sure a lot of you guys know that. If you don't, you're gonna have to do that. Now keep in mind, if you have this back brace in here, you have to take a grinder and chop that whole thing out. And I mean, it's thick. It's not a 1/4 of an inch thick, but it's thick bracing. Or you can take a hole saw and you can just pop a bunch of holes in it and make sure that you have your spots for your screws so you can still screw your lower grill in. If not, well, then you got nothing to screw it into. I used the foam back piece, or it's not fiberglass, but I'll call it a foam. What I ended up doing on that was braced it in. I'll show you guys how I ended up doing that. So if some of you guys are like, hey, I want to take that out, but I still want to keep the rigidity of this front nose, because, you know, we're going to be doing hopefully 160 plus. I don't need that front nose doing one of these. So I'm going to show you what I did to brace it in and what we're working on today. Okay, you guys, so this is what I ended up doing. This is that foam piece that's actually on the front side of the brace. What did I do? All right, get this up inside there. Now you can see the panels that I made that I literally, those are rim screws. I screwed into that front nose. I'm gonna try to set this light down here. That I screwed into that front nose. Then what I ended up using was some of this 5/8 round stock. And it's like, whatever, 65 thou wall, blah, 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 blah. And I ended up welding it off of the frame up here. It's on the inner edge. There you go. Gives you a better idea. Now that keeps it all nice and tight. Then I got to clean these tabs up. But I ended up taking these tabs, and this is what's holding the bottom section of this. Now that that's in, this whole big piece is in, you can see what I mean by having to cut it out. Now that that's in, well, that holds the rigidity to the nose of the car. So, there. So, at that point now, the front end is pretty close to as stiff as what it was before. Now, at that point, now what I'm doing is the radiator issues. Being able to get enough air specifically drawn into the radiator. What's going on is as the wind comes through, it's literally hitting the front end and it's going everywhere. It's going out the front wheels, it's coming down right here and having problems. Another thing that you can build is like this little front air dam, to where I'm going off the radiator support to actually create a low pressure to draw some of that hot air out and get it out down underneath the car. That does help. But what I'm going to be doing, this is what we're going to be doing. Up here, there we go. Oh, sorry, got to get you guys past that brace. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to build from there all the way down, and I'm going to seal this section in with some aluminum, and I'm going to brace it, you know, against here on the radiator support, against that guy. I'm going to come down off of here. I'm going to come forward onto here. Kind of see it? Come forward onto here, and then we're going to come down, and then we're going to come straight back to the radiator. So everything that's going through the grills, both top and bottom, are going to be forced right into the radiator. So, oh, who joined the neighborhood? Hey, neighbor, hey. So that's what we're going to be working on, is getting all that air funneled through that grill, upper and lower, to hit that radiator. And then hopefully we can be stuck in traffic. You brought that. So we're going to be stuck in traffic, things like that. Well, hey man, when you're stuck in traffic, you're not forcing air through. It's just kind of stagnant. Well, keep in mind, when you have your fans on, everything that's up front here, everything that's up front in there, you're pulling the air from here. Well, I'd rather still be able to pull the air out front here, which is going to be cooler air than what's still sitting underneath the car. Makes sense in my brain. So we're going to start making our pieces. Okay, so what's going on? All we're doing is a basic transfer. This is super thin, super thin. This is like 26 gauge, 24 gauge metal. Obviously, I'm just going to trim black it. What I've come up with so far is 13 inches here to here, 14 inches here to here. I'm going to do 2 of them. I'm going to get some cardboard, and then at that point, there we go. Sorry about that. I left my tripod sitting at the other house at home. So I'm going to tin snip this stuff out, and then it's just trial and error, you guys. So normally grab a piece of cardboard, make yourself a nice little template, get your shape right, transfer it over. I know the rough portion size that I need, that's right, the size that I need is going to be a 13 by 14. I'm still going to create a lip on it to where I can, drill through that, and then that's what's going to attach itself. So stick with me, you guys will be able to see what I'm creating on that. So I'm going to tin snip this out real quick. Sometimes you just got to do things the old-fashioned way with just a pair of tin snips, and with the metal being as thin as what it is, like I said, it's only about 20 thousandths thick. You don't need anything super crazy when you're building the air funnel portion. Nothing's going to touch it, nothing's really going to mess with it. It's just a portion for, directing the air. Yes, I could have went with aluminum and stuff like that, but my other job is working with lots of sheet metal. We have this stuff laying around, so at that point it was just grab a sheet, bring it in, make what I got to make. So snip, 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 here we go. Okay, so here's where we're at. These are the pieces. It is a 14 by 13. This is a 6 by 6 trimmed out. This is 4 inches by about 7/8 of an inch trimmed out. What we're dealing with now is getting underneath the car. There, now you can see what we're blocking. So now it's a nice straight shot going from the grills in. Obviously, that's why I trimmed it, to miss that portion of the radiator support. It doesn't really matter up there that I trim and get everything nice and perfect and all that. It doesn't matter. So at the top, that right there I believe is around 6.5. Just go straight down. Come straight out. That little bit of a gap in there, it's not going to see it. And then I just rounded the edges, trimmed this section out, came down, gave myself around 1 inch, bolted it in, same thing up top, got it bolted in, and poof, there we go. So now we're going to work on the driver's side one, and hopefully this will definitely help with some of the cooling issues. So pretty straightforward, pretty easy pieces. They are universal. So if it's something that you guys are trying to get to fit, you'll be able to get it to fit. Now, keep in mind, if you have your steel in up front, the big brace in up front, you're going to have to trim around it. Plus, know the fact that that lower grill it's not even functional. So you have to trim all of that out, and then you'd have to compensate for how much all that's going to stick out. So this is for you guys that are trying to kind of mimic what I got going on here. So keep that in mind. Time to show you what the finished product looks like. So we're going to do an inside it, and then I'm going to drop the car down. I'm going to show you from the top side as well, because I made a total of 3 things for helping out control the air. So this is where we're at. Got them all painted, all done, ready to go. Here, let me get this up in here so you guys can see what's going on. Sorry about that. So now you can see what we got. So now we block that whole area, and then way up high you can see where I ended up making another panel that goes across the top. So we are completely encapsulated. Oh, let's get that over there. Sorry, you guys. There. Now you can see where that is completely encapsulated. So now we have a better shot of just getting all that air going straight through. Oh. Straight through. Right into the radiator, boom, right there. Straight into the radiator. And then that one on the top, which I'm going to show you here in a second. So everything is just a nice, easy, yeah, see how it's in there? Straight shot. So let me put her down and I'll show you the rest. Okay, and here's the top piece that I made. So, as you can see, just cleared off, just sealing off that section. Oh, hey man, you got a little bit of air here. Oh, hey man, there's a little bit of air here. If you want to get that picky and get that nutty with it and try to seal yours up just a little bit better than that, go ahead. You know, go for it. I mean, you still even have, you know, a little bit coming through here. I'm going to see where this actually goes and how things are. So I'm going to see how this works out. You know, we got a new fan on it, new radiator. This is something I wanted to do since last year because driving it down the highway, I had to have the fan on all the time. What I'd like to be able to do is as I'm going 60, 70 miles an hour, I'd like to be able to turn the fan off and actually have enough air coming through that I don't have to have the fan on. So might be a tall ask, but we'll see. It's the whole point of doing what we're doing, right? So anyways, hopefully the next time you guys see this thing in the next episode, we should hopefully have it fired off, bring it outside. I got to, you know, top off the transmission and, you know, just kind of do a couple of little things. I've gone through and pre-adjusted all or preset all the shocks. So that's good. We got to preload the Caltrax. And then at that point, we're going to bring her outside, see how low this thing actually sits, and then probably just drive it down the cul-de-sac and back and, you know, make sure the brakes are working. And I don't want to go too far because front end's not aligned. And I don't want to wear my tires out or anything like that, you know, prematurely. So we're going to set things up for the alignment shop. Hopefully next week we can do that. And once she gets aligned, I am ready to take this thing out on the road. Now, once she goes out on the road, I know everybody's going to be like, oh, big smoky burnouts and all this crazy stuff. No, not yet. I have to break the gears in on the rear end. This is a set of street gears, which I'm kind of leery with. I'm partially was thinking of running a pro gear, but I just don't know about running pro gears out on the street. Hit me down in the comments. Let me know what you guys think. If you do run pro gears, what kind of life are you getting out of them? You know, because last year I put about almost 1,000 miles on this car. I don't know if pro gear is going to last that long. So at that point, I'd like to know your guys' thoughts on the pro gears, because I don't want to sit and change gears out, you know, every single year. But I know with the street gear, talking to Strange, they're like, you know, 1,000, 1,100 horse, and you're gonna start cracking some teeth. I mean, we're gonna try to push this thing 1,300 plus. So I know I'm gonna end up probably taking some gears out, and then I don't know. There's kind of that thought of that pro gear. But anyways, so I have to do a heat cycle. I got to do at least a couple of heat cycles. The more heat cycles I run, the better chance that I have for some durability and life in those gears. So I'm going to drive it from here back to my house, which is about 20 minutes away, you know, hit it on the highway, build up some heat, drive it back. I'll probably do that a couple of times. And then we're going to check the trans brake, and, you know, then I'm going to let this bad boy eat so we can actually see what it's, you know, what she's going to do. And then from there, we'll take it down the track, run it with no nitrous, obviously make sure everything works, see if we can maybe get, I don't think it's going to run a mid-9 on motor. You know, everything's set up for about a 400 shot of nitrous, so I think she's going to be a little bit of a pig coming out of the hole. But hey, we'll see. Upcoming episodes, right? Right. So thank you guys so much for sticking around. Hey, again, I know I say it, but please share, like, subscribe, ring that bell. And the more hours and the more watches we can get on this thing, the better chance we got to get monetized and the better reach that we can get out there. And the more that I can show you guys the toys and the stuff that we do around here. And definitely good times, my man. Good times. So again, thank you guys so much, and we'll catch you on the flip side. See ya.